It doesn't say going live, it says going broadcasting. So I'm broadcasting on
Yes.
this is through my page, my YouTube page. For those who missed it before, this is just a test of the Snooze emergency broadcast system, actually the new YouTube live system. I tried it yesterday for my Comic Hall show, and when I replayed it, there was no audio. So Tony and I are just fooling around with some stuff. Tony and I just did one through Tony's computer, and he said that he has the audio coming out. Right, Tony?
Yes. And had this been an actual emergency, you would have been informed of where you could buy wine in an area near you. Or some kind of alcoholic dispensary.
Something like that, absolutely. Of course, now, no one likes my show because nobody's watching. Damn. Oh, there's a viewer. Yay! Someone's watching. Hooray. But yeah, so hopefully this is going to work out okay. So this is just the test of the Snooze broadcast system. Tony, shall we get into our... well, before we do that, Scott McDonald did want us to remind everybody that tomorrow is the season premiere of Z Nation. So Z Nation's back. Hooray.
Z Nation, yes.
It starts... Tomorrow is a 2-hour event, premiere, movie, whatever. It starts at 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock, yes, which is a little bit weird and tough because I'm so used to 9 o'clock start for good things. And, but yeah, I'll remember. It's something to... See, I'm not working tomorrow, but it doesn't mean I don't have to wake up because I still gotta, my normal thing is I get up before 6 and out the door at about 7 with my kid. I drop her off at school, and, which is pretty funny because the whole, rationale behind, me taking her to school is that the school bus is too early. We're only the high school is a mile up the road, and so right across from the school, about a half a mile away, is where her friend lives. But she lives in a development that's across from the school. She's a half mile away. So we drive to her friend's house. 2 of her girlfriends get in the car, and then I drive them to the school. And we leave the house. I don't want to say before the bus comes at 7:15, and I pull out my driveway at 7:06. Okay, and when we pass the bus stop, because it's all the way, like she'd have to walk all the way out to the main road, which is a goodly hike. But we leave later than she'd have to leave if she was taking the bus, and it's like, no, I'm leaving earlier, but I'm not going to argue. But tomorrow morning, what I have to do is around maybe 10 to 7, I'll roll out of bed, I'll come downstairs, I'll make sure her lunch is packed, and then I'll drop her off at school, and then I'll come back home.
Awesome. I do have the two viewers. I'm assuming it's Scotty and Laura. If you guys, well, now it's down to one. If you guys can hear us, just let me know with a tweet or something. I just want to make sure that you guys can hear us. I haven't got a tweet yet. Usually if there's a problem, people are like, we can't hear you, speak up. So if you guys can just say, hey, we got you. Anyone? Bueller? All right. Oh, just Tony. Yes, we are sleeping. Okay. Is that Myrna? You peeps sleep. Oh, no.
Who else?
All right, there's Scotty. Sound is good. All right. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Scott. Okay. All right. So, shall we do this real quick, Tony, or do you got something else to say?
Well, I was gonna say. Well, before I was gonna maybe just do a little strain talk, only because we're here and we might as well.
Sure.
So, I think I was a tiny bit disappointed the Quinlan backstory, only because I wanted to see more, and I don't know if we're going to get more if they just wanted to show his origin story. And I see you kind of nodding, and I don't know if you agree or disagree, but I really I like that character, and I want to see it like fully developed. We did learn a lot about him, but I didn't compared to where Ike Horst came from and where Abe came from. We we saw that whole
progression of the progression of how they went from who they were to being who they are now. I mean, remember Eichhorst, before he became a Nazi scumbag, was actually kind of a shy, bookish type of guy who happened to be interested in this one woman who seemed to be interested in him, and then just things started changing, and then that's when he reverted to Nazism, and she was Jewish, I believe, from what I recall.
Yeah, she turned out to be a Jew, and didn't she kind of almost scorn him, like she shunned him or whatever, like he wasn't good enough for her, and that was one of the things that set him on that path.
Yeah, I think I kind of remember that. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, but I was talking more along the lines of the relationship between Eichhorst. And, you know, there was like a little bit of mutual respect, and it, like, you could almost feel like Eichhorst would have, was definitely protecting Satrakian, and he would have, who knows what would have, didn't turn around and say, okay, this is evil, this is bad, you know. Would Satrakian have been recruited along with Eichhorst to be another minion of the Master, was where it almost looked like it could go, if Satrakian didn't, you know, take that step back.
Okay.
But again, and it happened over multiple episodes. It didn't just happen in one episode where we saw the progression, as you said, you know, the meeting, Eichhorst. I thought it was a little bit predictable, like I mean, I was following the strain, and everybody's like, oh, it's going to be her leg bone that's part of the sword that he's using, and not so.
Yeah.
We'll see how that works out, but I think it's probably got to be like the first episode that Shithead didn't have something to drink, sneak something, and we not notice it. You know, you know, before he effed up the exchange with the book. You know, did he take a drink?
I'm trying to remember. It was weird with this episode. I wasn't disappointed by it, but it was a little bit slower for me, I guess. And I'm trying to remember if he did have anything to drink. I don't know if he did. You might actually be right. That might be the first time he didn't have anything. Or was there some... No, I don't think he did. Yeah, I really don't think he did, because it was mostly focused on, you know, Quinlan and his backstory. And then they went a little bit into... geez, I'm even trying to remember what happened.
Well, we saw some Kelly. We saw some Fett, and we saw Satrakian for a little bit. You know, they were having that conversation in the car. What else happened? You see, now the thing is, I almost want to say we saw Gus, and Gus's mom was in the helmet.
Yes, it was. That was the majority of the episode. Was Gus and Angel were they were, you know, Angel comes to find Gus basically bleeding himself out to feed his mother. And he's weak, and Angel's like, no, man, she's not your mother anymore. We got to kill it, you know? And Gus like, no way, man. No, we're not going to do that. And then they started to get ready to a fight, and then that's when the National Guard came and said, we're going to sweep the apartment building. They had to get her out, and then that's what it was. That's what happened. That was the majority. Yeah. The big part of the episode was Gus and Angel having to try to get Mom out of the apartment, and then, spoiler alert, the guard catches them. And she got released, right? They released her, and she killed a bunch of guys. And then
she did. Yeah. She did, and one of my favorite parts of that was when Angel gets the duct tape out, and he tapes her into the wheelchair and says, Mexican seatbelt. And Gus is like, really? Like, you're really gonna do that kind of a joke? It really was it really changed that scene from, there was definitely a lot of antagonism between the two characters, and that just took all of the bad feelings and everything kind of like it was kind of like me tweeting out something to either you and Scotty and getting a boo, which is what that Mexican seatbelt thing did.
Was.
But we're still not seeing enough of Gus. Maybe we'll see Gus now because it looks like they've been recruited into some kind of group that's going to be working to flush them out, or will they be up to some other nefarious?
We shall see. Yes.
Okay. But that was good. I have a spoiler alert prediction, and I'm going to say something. I have not read the books.
Okay.
But it kind of seems to me that what we may have just seen was one of those moments in the series where people will point to it and said, well, they told you right there. Okay? And one of the things that struck me, and I think it's because the book was bound in silver, was whenever whenever one of the Strigoi touched it was painful to them. Mm-hmm. Okay? And the master was prepared. They knew about it. Like they had like a burlap sack or something that they put the book in. But they keep on saying that the book is the key. And here goes my prediction. It's not anything that's in the book that's the key, but it's the actual physical book that is going to like explode or something is going to happen with the book. Like, and that's why the book is the key. So again, I'm saying spoiler alert. I was like, if it turns out to be that, I said that's pretty brilliant and pretty stupid because they, but I mean, I hope I'm totally wrong, but that would be cool if that ended up being what the purpose of the book was.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing with the book series. This is one of the things that sort of turned on off. They've already gone like total exploded the book series and are now going off in their own really direction. They might lean back in occasionally and hit a few marks here and there, but she said the stuff that happened in this episode didn't happen in the books. Nora's actually a major character in all 3 books. It's only 3 books long, and it was different. And it was a tighter series. Once again, maybe it's getting to Under the Dome syndrome where they want to expand it a little bit, so they're adding more things that aren't in the book, which there's nothing wrong with that, but for the readers of the book who like the book, they might be a bit off put by it. And Dawn was just like, yeah, that didn't happen in the book, and it's totally off book now. So,
well, okay, so I really can't talk to that point, but I can talk to Under the Dome. I don't think, I mean, there may have been moments where it seems like they were doing things that were stretching it, but in Under the Dome, like it was supposed to be, it's supposed to be a show kind of like Doctor Who, where they're following a storyline, but sometimes the storyline doesn't, go in a straight line. It kind of weaves in and out, and every once in a while there'd be an episode that has nothing to do with the main storyline, but it's there. And maybe something happens at the end that back or whatever, but not necessarily, them continuing with that main theme throughout every episode, kind of like the way X-Files is, where it kind of, they'll do 3 or 4 episodes in a row along the main theme, and then they may have an episode or 2 in a row where you don't see that again, then all of a sudden it comes back, like with the next case that they work on. Under the Dome, besides sidetracking and taking these little couple of steps to the left, all of a sudden it looked like they were, okay, they're going to make a left turn here, and they made the left. And then all of a sudden they were going the wrong way down a one-way street, and then they're turning right back around. And you can definitely see where there was episodes and characters that they were introduced. Like there was 3 or 4 episodes in the first season after they decided that they were going to the second season, where they introduced characters and storylines at the beginning of an episode, and the storyline and the characters were all dead. by the end of that episode.
Okay.
So it, like, you didn't even need it. Okay, if you're going to just put him in there and then kill him, why do we have the episode? I'm not getting that feeling from
Well, yeah, I agree with that. I'm just saying it seems to be, according to Dawn and a few other people, that they're basically maybe doing, like, let's talk about maybe the Star Trek phenomenon with the movies, where you have the one timeline and then something skews it, and they got a secondary timeline, and they're focusing a little bit more on the secondary timeline, but occasionally it overlaps into the main book storyline, and then it reflips back to nothing that's bad. I mean, Dawn still wants to watch it; she just seems to enjoy it, but I don't think she's enjoying it maybe as much. But maybe that's just the whole. We've read the book, and we kind of want to keep it that way, you know.
Okay, so the only thing that I can actually point to that is nonsensical, and I don't know why, is Dutch. Okay, we haven't seen her, and then all of a sudden they've got an episode where we see what she's doing, and now we don't see her again. I know she's going to pop up and start sniffing around Fett's crotch again soon, I'm guessing, because every woman in New York City sniffs around Fett's crotch because he is the man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He might even get Angel soon, you know?
Whoa. Whoa.
But I mean, that whole... I mean, was there a point to it? Do they want us to see that she's getting a little bit badass? I mean, I don't understand. Like, did they want us to say, hey, let's not just not show Dutch and then reintroduce her 5 episodes in and say, where the F have you been? I could understand that, but they could have given her a minute or two in a couple of episodes instead of having one episode where it was almost where she's featured, like a featured storyline that just fizzled out.
Right.
But hey, I still haven't watched last week's Fear, which I might get to it tomorrow. I will watch before Sunday because the last ship is done. And surprise, surprise, they didn't cliffhanger us. So I'll be back to Misery Love Company with Helena and John McGivna and probably Holly, and you know.
I know MJ's on there too, so MJ's on there too. So
yeah, I've seen some of MJ's tweets, and you might want to ask him the next time you sit down. But I kind of get the feeling he's kind of hate watching along with Helena and John. So, but he is a great tweeter, whether he likes the show or not. If he's hate tweeting, I almost want to say I like him better. Because he can get downright vicious, but he's funny regardless of what he's tweeting about. But he is good for some gems. So we'll see. So we'll see about that. But our main topic of conversation. So again, this was almost a last-minute thing, especially considering did his comic haul yesterday, and when he played back, there was no audio of the YouTube. So we checked. The first portion of tonight was me doing the hangout. This is Dylan's hangout. So I was like, what could we talk about that we can quick, down, and dirty? And just at that point, I heard someone say, picture. And then I was like, okay, what are words that people say wrong all the time? So I did a Google search, and there's a whole bunch of stuff comes out, and I saw one list where there was like 30 words or 33 words and I'm reading through, and the words are spelled out phonetically, and I was like, wow, that's how you say that word? I've been saying that 1 out of 33 I think I've been saying wrong, but none of these words were words that would come up in daily conversation. But I found one of those lists of words that might be, and number one on the list is picture, which sounds like a Brooklyn, New York City way of saying picture. But so there's two different words. There's picture, like when you take a picture with the camera. It's picture, such as a pitcher in a baseball game or a pitcher of milk. But you don't take a pitcher. If you take a pitcher, you go fill it up with something and then you bring it back. Not a selfie sort of thing.
Yeah, I've heard people say picture before for picture, and it's one of those things that drives you crazy. Some of these other ones that I've been reading on the list also, it's crazy, some of these things, because I hear them a lot. I hear them a lot of them. You want to do the second one?
Yeah, you can do the second one.
All right. It's mischievous versus mischievous. Now they say, let's see, they say it's not pronounced mischievous, it's pronounced mischievous. So basically, the right way to say mischievous is mischievous. So we're being very mischievous today, not mischievous today. Which, to be honest, I don't like to say mischievous. I like saying mischievous. So
sounds more devious, doesn't it?
I'm still gonna say mischievous. I don't care what they say. Mischievous, please.
I'm gonna write a book, and instead of having Dr. Evil, there's gonna be Dr. Mischievous.
Mischievous.
Mischievous. Is that Jesus' daughter? Mischievous? Holy Jeebus. It's mischievous. Okay, now here goes one, and when I saw this, I was like, holy shit, I've been saying this wrong? So, you know that there's a unit of measure that's not a mile. That's part of the metric system. I want everybody out there to say that word. You know what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about meter. I'm talking about the larger thing. Okay, say that out loud. And if you said it, kilometer, you're wrong. It's kilometer. Kilometer. It's not. See, that's the way I want it. Kilometer. That's not the way you say it. Kilometer.
And actually, it's funny. It's funny, actually, because that's how Bronwyn from Canada says it, kilometer. So she says it right.
That's Canadians, though.
Yeah, it is Canadian.
Canadian pronunciation. They're trying to force that shit on us good Americans. How could we make America great again if we're saying
kilometer? Let's kill the ometers. Yeah.
And you want to know something? We don't speak American. We speak English. You watch those Brits and they talk about it. Oh, it's about 5 kilometers down there. They're not saying kilometers. It's us.
Kilometers.
Now.
This one's an interesting one because Dawn actually brought this up today too. And it's the difference between GIF and GIF. I call it a GIF because that's what you and Scotty were doing today. It was blowing up my phone where you're sending the GIFs, which are those little bits of footage of, a few seconds of someone saying something. Whatever. I sent animated stuff. And I sent one to Heather today, which is pretty funny. So I do them too. I like them too. But apparently we've been saying it wrong because the guy who created it, the inventor of the GIF,
spelled it wrong.
Yeah, he did. Steve Wilhite actually pronounced it as GIF.
Right, but
yeah, go ahead.
But so here goes my thing. A, E, I, O, and U are vowels, and they say sometimes Y. There are too many letters in the English language that aren't vowels that have more than one sound. Okay, because G, they say Okay, so if it's the j sound, why do we have a j? Because j and j, from a j to a g, it's basically the same sound. Okay, I defy you. I mean, unless you pull out a freaking a frequency analyzer and make the sounds and show me that there's a difference, go screw yourself. Always called it a GIF. It's the graphic
interchange format.
Graphic format. So little Weasley friggin' douchebag who invented the GIF is saying it wrong. Because if it was giraffic interface format, then I would call it a GIF. Okay? Why didn't you spell it with a J? You bastard. Why? Because graphic doesn't start with a J and it has a hard G sound. And again, we've got the letter C. It could be like almost like an S sound. Okay? Or it could be carrot, like a K sound. What the fuck do we have a C for? We've got a K and we've got an S. And the confusion. Whenever we need the hard sound, we make it a K. Whenever we want the soft sound, we make it an S. Get rid of the C, and who gives a shit about the origin of the word and how it was spelled in the original language? Because guess what? This is English. We took words from every freaking language, and then we use it the way we want to. Why? Because we're Metagons, and we can do that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Come on. I want to scroll down. It doesn't want to scroll down. Scroll down.
Okay.
Okay, hold on. What if I do?
Actually, I have a GIF in this thing you sent me. It's Conan O'Brien doing a little snap for the next one.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get back to that because I was at GIF and I wanted to scroll down and it just was not.
Yeah.
Do you want to know something? I'm just no. What I'm going to do is, you see, I have it on my second screen, so I'm just going to move it over here to the main screen and see if that makes things better. So I'm just. Why don't you do this one, do the next one, and then as soon as this thing comes up, I'll jump back in.
Right. This one should be fairly easy for people to say correctly. And Myrna, you might be interested in this because it's coffee related. Espresso or espresso. It's espresso. Espresso. It's not espresso. It's not I'm getting my coffee at the espresso machine because it's fast and it's an express machine. No, it's espresso. It's Italian. Espresso. Espresso. Espressi. Actually, that sounds more Greek, but anyway. But it's espresso, not espresso. So.
Yeah, and that is one of the words that kind of bothers me because I'm going to get myself some espresso. You are?
You're expressing yourself.
I don't think so. So for some reason, that website is just killing me. So it's okay because I have alternate pieces of technology at my disposal. So I'm just going to look at it on my phone.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm doing. It's really easy. I'm scrolling right through it. It's really good.
So it's just going to take me a second to just to pull it up on my phone. Go to the next one. I'm here. I'll check Twitter, make sure nobody's friggin', on the ledge.
Myrna's doing something, so. This one became popular, I would say, due to the TV show Friends, because Chandler and Joey had a little argument about how to say things, and this was the one word that came up. Supposedly versus supposedly. The proper term is supposedly. It's not supposedly. And Joey was one saying it as supposedly, I'm sorry. It's supposedly. Supposedly. So it's not supposedly. And it's funny, and this is for you, Scotty. In this description of it, they say a good example for using it in a sentence. Supposedly, Taylor Swift is an excellent musician. So, so supposedly versus supposedly, it is supposedly. So, or actually, no, they're also saying supposedly is technically a word, but it doesn't mean what you think it means. It means able to be supposed, which doesn't make any sense to me. I just say supposedly. If you want to say supposedly, I'm saying supposedly. Supposedly is not right when you're trying to say supposedly. I'm getting all tongue twisted.
Okay, so yeah, and that really sucks because now I've got this one, number 7, where it's sherbet versus sherbet. So supposedly, there's no second R in sherbet. But is sherbet the same thing as sorbet? Which is totally spelled a different way because I've always thought that sorbet and sherbet were the same thing, and I might be wrong.
I call it sherbet. I always have. Sherbet just it doesn't sound right. Yeah, if you want to say sorbet, don't say sherbet. It's say sorbet and say sherbet. If it's sherbet, say sherbet. If it's sorbet, say sorbet. Don't do sherbet.
Okay, well,
I don't like it.
So there's a definite difference, though. The difference between sorbet and sherbet is sherbets contain milk or another fat, making it similar to ice cream. And generally thought of as being fruit-based, sorbets can be made with any ingredient. So if you make a sorbet and you throw some milk in there, then it becomes a sherbet. So a sorbet could be a sherbet, but a sherbet can't be a sorbet.
Well, okay then. Let's go to the next one. Do you want to do it, or since I did a bunch of them in a row?
I'm not very responsible, so you might as well do
it. This one is weird because I've actually used this word, and they're saying that I shouldn't be using it. Irregardless versus regardless. And what the description of on here is there are 3 schools of thought here. Irregardless can and should be used interchangeably with regardless. Irregardless isn't a word, and it technically is a word, but you should not use it. The first 2 are incorrect. You shouldn't use irregardless, but it's also not fair to say that it's not a word. According to Merriam-Webster, it is a word that originated in 20th century America, but it is still a long way from general acceptance. So pretty much you can use irregardless, but people will notice and think you're speaking incorrectly. If you absolutely must use it, just don't use it in a job interview. I use irregardless all the time. And I'm in this, and I'm going to keep doing it the way I want to do it, but apparently I'm not speaking the English right. So maybe I speak in Italian in a cliched way. Oh no, people don't like that. Ugh, I hate this one too. You want the next one?
Okay. Nuclear or nuclear. As opposed to nuclear, okay, which is the way you're supposed to say nuclear vessels. That's the correct pronunciation. There is no extra U, so it's nuclear, which is the way that it was pronounced by famously by George W. Bush. Nuclear. It's nuclear, like in nuclear vessels. You have to make sure you get the vessels.
Wessels makes it. The Wessels makes it. February versus February. Yes, there is an R in it, February.
And don't forget that first R. Now, you see, I never made this mistake because I am born in February. So it's brew, not bew.
All right.
February.
I do both. I think I have to be thinking about it when I say it. I do say February. I also say February. Maybe when I'm talking really fast, I say February. But it is February, as Tony said, February.
This is going to work out pretty good because you see, being born in February, I used to like to go to the library. And that's wrong. In February, you went to the library, which is the same thing. There's an R in there that you have to. There's two R's. There's Brary, library, not library. You know, like not like it was one of those fruity monster cereals. You know, right next to Count Chocula, you had library cereal. It was very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is especially good.
Especially good, which works out because you get to speak directly to Myrna again because she probably says especially. That espresso was especially good. It was.
And it is especially wrong. It is the proper pronunciation is especially, not especially. It's got to be that es just somehow gets people to just make it ex. It's not. It's especially, not especially.
This is working out perfectly because the next word that we have on the list is actually, again, you know, sometimes it, like in the last one that I had, it was library, and that's not the way you pronounce library. Okay, here goes another case where there's actual two words, but they're pronouncing a word as if it was the other. So in the morning, you put on your clothes. Clothes. It's spelled like cloth, except you put an E and an S, and it's clothes. Okay. A lot of people don't know that there's a difference between putting on your clothes and closing the door. Where's your clothes? Where's your clothes? What's opened? CLOSE is close. It's not. It's close the door, and then there's clothes. You know, you can really put that TH sound in there. But when you sound like you're saying clothes, where's your clothes? Come on, buddy, get your clothes on. Move along.
Yeah, etc. is another one leading into that one. It is etc., not etc. However, I don't like saying etc. I like saying etc. So
When you
I'm
get
saying
your
it wrong.
espresso, when you get your espresso,
Especially, I get
good.
my espresso. It's etc. Not etc. But etc. is the proper term, not etc. But the way and you guys have known me plenty of times. You've heard me, you've seen me, you've talked to me. You know, I go absolutely. When I get really, really fast, you know, the words just come pouring out of me. So you'll hear me say etc. If I'm saying etc. I'm saying etc. And now to the other etc. Tony Solo.
Irregardless, Myrna has never heard that word before, so she learns something new. It's not really a word, but it is a word. You want to know something? They put words in the dictionary all the time. You know, they actually added YOLO, which is
God, that's awful.
It's what is that, an acronym? You know, you only live once.
Yeah.
So they're throwing things in there for that. But the next word that I have, which is one of those real weird ones, because when you watch the Olympics, you see a lot of athletes. There's a lot of athletes in the Olympics, but it's not athletes that are in the Olympics. It's athletes. There's an actual ATHELETE, but a lot of people, when they run like an athlete to go get their espresso, they act like athletes because they got to get there really fast, and that's a word that's pretty commonly mispronounced This one, I don't know if I've ever heard of this.
Yeah, you know what? I'm looking at it too. I really haven't either. And it's kind of funny that it comes up to me because I'm tall as a mountain. Me, tall as a mountain. I have big height, not
Yeah.
height. I don't have big height. I have big height, not height. Now, I agree with you, Tony. I've never actually heard anybody actually say, "Yeah, you're pretty big height." I've heard what's your height? You know, it's not what's your height. I've never heard that before, but apparently, I mean, I guess it is. I guess they consider it, you know, because width is the same way. You know, width has that th to it. They figure, everything like that should as well. So, what's your height? No, I've never heard that. It's height. So, apparently, it's a thing.
Dylan's about his height as that mauve thing above his head. See that mauve thing?
Mauve.
Mauve. I mean, half of these things sound like somebody with a really bad New York accent. You know, and did they all come from New York, these people? Like mauve. Come on, Rose, let's go. Get your bag, get your coat. We're gonna go down to the store, and we're gonna pick out some mauves because they're all out of roses. The correct pronunciation for that color is mauve. It rhymes with grove, so it's mauve, not mauve. It's not spelled M-A-W-V-E. It's not mauve.
Mauve. All right, this one's interesting. It's a science one. If you're talking about multiple baby insects, it's larvae, not larvae. Larvae? Larvae, yeah, larvae. It's not larvae, it's larvae. So even though it's spelled L-A-R-V-A-Y, well, no, it's spelled L-A-R-V-A-E, it's the proper spelling. You have to pronounce it that way as well. Larvae, not larvae. I've been saying it larvae. I guess I shouldn't say that anymore. It's larvae.
I've heard people, you see, and this is a little bit wrong because I've heard people say larvae.
Okay.
As a singular, and larvae maybe as a multiple. But it's larva. Is it not if it's a singular?
I guess if it is singular, they're talking about multiple. This is where they're talking about multiple baby insects. It's larvae. But larva would be, I guess, an individual
Not larvae.
one. Yeah. I guess would be, yeah, that's the individual one is larva. But then the multiple ones are larvae or larvae. See, I can't even say
like I
it right.
said, like I said, I've heard larvae and larvae, well, or larva and larvae. It's a good thing I'm not an entomologist.
All right, Laura, we got a few more to go, and then we'll be done.
Yes.
Our ears are bleeding. You're the athlete, so you get this one too.
Oh, jewelry. I went to the jewelry store.
No. You skipped
did I skip one?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I'm going to continue with it. Jewelry. Okay. It's nice. This nice mauve piece I've got on my tiara. Oh, it's jewelry. Jewelry, not jewelry.
It does sound like in New York. You're right.
Well, if I throw on that you know, that Archie Bunker type, you know.
Edith, yeah, the Edith accent, yeah. Jewelry. Triathlon versus triathlon? It's that extra A, I guess. Triathlon.
Triathlon.
It's not supposed to be. Okay, hold on. We're all sticking another syllable in that doesn't need to be there. It's
triathlon.
Triathlon.
That's the wrong way,
right?
As opposed to triathlon.
Yeah, triathlon, not triathlon. It's triathlon.
You want to know something? I was watching the Olympics, and those motherfuckers were saying triathlon. I'll tell you right now. So they could take this list and they could shove it. All right.
Myrna wants us to say buffet, not Buffett. It's buffet. Jimmy Buffett is a singer.
Warren Buffett?
And Warren Buffett is a...
Warren Buffet?
It's buffet is where you go and you pay one price and you get free food. Well, no, you don't free because you paid for it, but still. Ooh, you get a good one too. Another good one after jewelry.
Zoology, zoo, zoology, zoology. So many people pronounce it zoology when really it's just zoology. Zoology. Zoology sounds like the thing that they say at the end of your life when you're sitting in the casket or lying in the casket in front of the church. Uh, yeah, oh, that was a beautiful zoology. Oh, Janet, did you hear that zoology? Oh, it brought tears to my eyes. I could not help it. Zoology, oh, it was beautiful.
There is
Oh, and
no
the flowers were so beautiful for that zoology.
there is no zoology, only zoology.
Zoology. It seems like that's the way you should say it. Zoology, because we know you're talking about a zoo.
Exactly.
That's right. When she died, we didn't take it to the zoo. It wasn't a zoology. They did a zoology at the church. I don't understand.
Zoology. And I'm going to keep saying zoology. All right. This is the last one, and then we're going to get the heck out of Dodge. It is often, not often. Often. The T is silent. Often, not often. I'm not often doing this. I'm often doing it. That still makes sense. But still, it's often, not often. Am I right?
Um, what's that girl's name? Roman Polanski's wife.
No idea. She's French, right?
No, she was the girl that was in that movie. 10. Bo Derek. Okay. Let me tell you something, dearie. Bo Derek, she's off 10 because she used to be a 10 when she was young, dearie. But she's off 10 now. She's like a 6.
Oh, Bo Derek.
That's an off 10.
Memories. Oh, memories of Bo Derek. But we're not going to get into that because that's just ew. My good memories for me, but ooh for everybody else. Anyway, thank you for this special edition of Sharon Tate was the Roman Polanski's wife who got killed by Charlie Manson. Yes.
Yeah.
So, Tony, I guess we'll find out how this works, and that's it. Anything else you want to add? Yeah, irregardless, anything else you want to add?
Nah, we're done. So we'll be around. We're here. You know, this is just a little bit of fun, and hopefully everything works out pretty good. It's a great way to test it. I hope you guys had fun, and we'll see you guys in 3 weeks. Is it now?
Yeah, it's October, the first weekend of October. I think that's what we chose, right?
The 6th, was it?
6th. Yeah, I believe it was 6th because yeah.
So we will see you guys in 1, 2, 3 weeks. Oh my God, it seems like less than a month from now. It's almost next door.
How often does that happen? Irregardless.
Not off 10 enough. Listen, I gotta go get my espresso, especially now.
Right. I'm done. All right,
I'm done. Well, it's up to you. You gotta end it, not me.
I know. I'm just trying to a little bit more. Irregardless, I'm done.